She sorted books in silence, soft-spoken, polite, invisible, until the fire alarm blared, and her sleeve rolled up mid-evacuation. The tattoo caught everyone's eye. So did the faded scars. And when someone asked, "What unit?" she just said, "First Recon." No one called her just anything again. From which city in the world are you watching this video today? If you enjoy stories about hidden warriors and the moment when ordinary facades fall away to reveal extraordinary service, consider subscribing for more content that explores how the most powerful stories often hide in the quietest places. The soft whisper of turning pages filled the reference section at Camp Pendleton's Henderson Memorial Library on Thursday afternoon, October 26, 2023, where the steady flow of Marines, sailors, family members, and civilian employees created the familiar rhythm of intellectual pursuit that characterized one of the military's most comprehensive educational facilities, serving over 45,000 active duty personnel and their families throughout Southern California's largest Marine Corps installation. At 2:15 p.m., the circulation desk hummed with quiet administrative activity as patrons checked out books, requested research assistance, and navigated the extensive digital resources that provided essential educational support for military personnel pursuing college degrees, professional development, and personal enrichment during their service assignments and transition preparation. Behind the main circulation counter sat Catherine Katie Sullivan, a 34-year-old woman whose understated professional appearance, soft gray cardigan, sensible black slacks, and wire-rimmed reading glasses reflected the quiet competence that had made her one of the most valued librarians in the base library system's academic support hierarchy. Her workstation, organized with meticulous attention to detail that suggested systematic thinking, contained multiple computer terminals displaying catalog systems, research databases, and educational resource portals that required simultaneous management of dozens of patron requests while maintaining accuracy standards that directly affected academic success and professional development for military personnel and their families. The nameplate on her desk, Catherine Sullivan, Reference Librarian, provided no indication of military background or combat experience, marking her as one of the civilian employees whose dedication to educational support and research expertise ensured effective library operations and positive learning experiences for Marines navigating complex academic requirements and career development programs. Her approach to patron service reflected genuine commitment to educational excellence combined with professional expertise that had earned recognition from supervisors and appreciation from countless Marines who had benefited from her assistance with research projects, academic writing support, and access to specialized educational resources. Around her, the library environment reflected decades of commitment to providing comprehensive educational opportunities for American military personnel, with advanced computer laboratories, multimedia learning centers, academic tutoring programs, and research support services designed to address the unique educational needs and career development requirements that affected military families throughout their service lives. The afternoon patron flow included military personnel from multiple units and specializations, infantry Marines pursuing college degrees during off-duty hours, aviation maintenance personnel completing professional certification programs, logistics specialists researching advanced supply chain management techniques, and military spouses working on educational goals that would support family stability during frequent relocations. Katie's interaction with each patron reflected her understanding of military culture and genuine appreciation for educational pursuits, though her civilian status and academic role provided no obvious indication of personal military experience or connection to combat operations that might have shaped her perspective on military education and professional development support. Good afternoon, Corporal Martinez. I've located those engineering journals you requested for your calculus project, and I've set up access to the digital archives that include the historical case studies your professor mentioned, Katie said to a 22-year-old Marine whose pursuit of mechanical engineering degree required specialized technical resources and academic support. Her attention to patron needs extended beyond basic library services to educational advocacy that ensured Marines and family members received appropriate research support and access to academic resources that addressed degree requirements and professional development goals that could enhance military careers and civilian transition opportunities. Similar interactions throughout the afternoon demonstrated Katie's comprehensive knowledge of educational databases, her ability to navigate complex research requirements on behalf of military patrons, and her genuine commitment to ensuring that service members receive the educational support they had earned through their military service and dedication to personal improvement. Her professional competence and personal dedication had made her a trusted resource for Marines who often face challenges balancing military duties with educational pursuits. Understanding academic requirements and accessing research materials through library systems that could be overwhelming for personnel managing demanding military schedules and deployment preparations. At 3:45 p.m., the routine afternoon activity at the circulation desk was interrupted by the arrival of Staff Sergeant Michael "Tank" Rodriguez, a 29-year-old infantry Marine whose physical appearance immediately suggested recent combat deployment. Desert tan that spoke of overseas service, careful movement patterns that indicated combat vigilance, and bearing that reflected years of military discipline and operational experience. His approach to the circulation desk demonstrated the purposeful efficiency that characterized Marines completing administrative tasks, though his expression reflected the focused intensity that often accompanied veterans transitioning from combat deployments to garrison duties that required different skills and mental adjustments. The visible indicators of recent combat service, faded tan lines from protective equipment, subtle scarring that might reflect minor combat injuries, and tactical awareness that suggested ongoing readiness for dangerous situations, marked him as one of the Iraq or Afghanistan veterans whose military service had included demanding operational experience and exposure to combat conditions. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez approached the circulation desk with the direct communication style that characterized Marine leadership, though his interaction with civilian library staff reflected the professional courtesy that Marines maintained when working with support personnel who enabled mission accomplishment through educational and administrative services. "Ma'am, I need assistance with research materials for a leadership development project. My unit commander assigned a comprehensive analysis of small unit tactics in urban environments, and I need access to military history databases and tactical case studies," Rodriguez said, his voice carrying the authoritative tone that suggested extensive leadership experience while reflecting current academic requirements that challenge Marines to integrate operational experience with theoretical knowledge. Katie's response demonstrated the professional expertise and efficient service that characterized her approach to educational support, combined with personal attention that recognized the individual challenges that many Marines faced in balancing military responsibilities with academic requirements, while managing the mental adjustments associated with transitioning from combat operations to educational pursuits. "Of course, Staff Sergeant. Let me access our military history collection and set up database searches for urban warfare case studies. I can also provide access to the Command and Staff College archives that include contemporary tactical analysis," Katie replied, accessing research systems with practiced efficiency while maintaining personal attention that demonstrated genuine concern for academic success and professional development. As Katie reviewed Rodriguez's research requirements and academic assignment parameters, her systematic approach to educational support reflected professional competence that ensured comprehensive resource access while providing Marines with confidence that their academic projects would receive appropriate research support and scholarly assistance. Rodriguez waited at the circulation counter with the patient discipline that characterized Marines accustomed to administrative procedures and bureaucratic requirements. Though his body language suggested operational alertness and situational awareness that often accompanied combat veterans managing the psychological adjustments associated with garrison duties and academic environments. The routine interaction between Katie and Rodriguez proceeded with professional efficiency as she identified relevant databases, compiled research materials, and provided access to military historical archives that would support his leadership development project and academic requirements. During their research discussion, Rodriguez noticed Katie's systematic approach to military information and her apparent familiarity with tactical terminology and operational concepts that suggested understanding beyond civilian academic training in library science and educational support. "Ma'am, You seem to understand military terminology and tactical concepts pretty well for civilian library staff. Have you worked with military research before, or do you have family military background? Rodriguez asked with genuine curiosity about Katie's apparent expertise in military affairs and operational knowledge. Katie's response reflected careful balance between acknowledging familiarity with military culture and maintaining professional boundaries appropriate to her current civilian role and educational support responsibilities that required focus on patron service rather than personal background or military connections. I've worked with military personnel for several years, Staff Sergeant. You develop familiarity with military terminology and operational concepts when you're helping Marines with research projects and academic assignments. Katie replied, providing context without revealing specific details about her background or the source of her military knowledge. Rodriguez accepted Katie's explanation while noting that her understanding of tactical concepts seemed more comprehensive than typical civilian exposure to military affairs through professional library work would explain, but their interaction continued with focus on his research requirements rather than extended discussion of her background. The research session proceeded with Katie providing expert assistance that impressed Rodriguez with her ability to identify relevant materials, understand tactical concepts, and organize research resources in ways that demonstrated sophisticated knowledge of military operations and leadership principles. At 4:20 p.m., the routine library operations were suddenly interrupted by the piercing sound of the base fire alarm system, creating immediate transformation from quiet academic environment to emergency response situation that required immediate evacuation of all personnel according to established safety protocols. The alarm's distinctive pattern indicated actual fire emergency rather than routine drill, prompting immediate implementation of evacuation procedures that had been practiced but never executed under real emergency conditions that could affect the safety of hundreds of library patrons and staff members. All personnel, emergency evacuation required. Proceed immediately to designated assembly areas. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill, announced the base public address system, confirming the seriousness of the situation and the need for immediate response. Katie's reaction to the emergency alarm was immediate and professional, but her response pattern revealed capabilities that seemed inconsistent with civilian library staff training and emergency response protocols. Her movements were precise, systematic, and demonstrated tactical awareness that suggested extensive emergency response experience. Instead of following standard civilian evacuation procedures that emphasized personal safety and orderly exit, Katie immediately began coordinating patron evacuation with efficiency that impressed Marines and demonstrated leadership capabilities that exceeded typical library staff emergency training. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez, can you assist with patron evacuation from the research section while I secure classified materials and ensure all personnel have cleared the building? Katie requested with authority that seemed natural and appropriate despite her civilian status and the presence of senior military personnel who would normally assume emergency leadership roles. Rodriguez recognized Katie's competent emergency response and immediately complied with her coordination request, understanding that effective emergency management required utilizing available expertise regardless of official rank or organizational position. Katie moved through the library with purposeful efficiency that demonstrated comprehensive understanding of emergency response procedures, building security protocols, and personnel safety requirements that exceeded routine civilian emergency training and suggested extensive experience with crisis management under dangerous conditions. Her coordination of patron evacuation was systematic and thorough, ensuring that all library sections were cleared while maintaining awareness of personnel accountability and safety protocols that reflected advanced emergency response training and practical experience with crisis situations. During the evacuation process, Katie's professional cardigan sleeve became caught on a door handle as she assisted elderly family members through the emergency exit, causing the fabric to roll up and expose her forearm for the first time since her employment at the library began 18 months earlier. The exposed skin revealed a distinctive military tattoo that immediately captured the attention of nearby Marines. The unmistakable emblem of First Reconnaissance Company, rendered in bold black ink with precise detail that indicated military significance rather than casual body art or civilian tattoo choices. But more striking than the professional military tattoo were the visible scars that surrounded it. Faded but permanent marks that spoke of combat injuries, shrapnel wounds, and the kind of physical damage that resulted from exposure to explosive devices and enemy fire under operational conditions. The combination of First Recon insignia and combat scars created immediate recognition among the Marines who witnessed Katie's exposed forearm, understanding that they were observing evidence of military service that far exceeded their previous assumptions about her background and qualifications. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez, who had been assisting with evacuation coordination, stopped mid-step as he processed the significance of what he was seeing. "Ma'am, is that a First Recon tattoo?" Katie's immediate response was to pull her sleeve down and continue with evacuation coordination, but the damage had been done. Her carefully maintained civilian identity had been compromised by circumstances beyond her control, and the Marines around her were beginning to understand that their quiet librarian possessed military background that exceeded anything they had imagined. "We need to focus on evacuation procedures, Staff Sergeant," Katie replied, attempting to redirect attention to emergency response while avoiding discussion of personal military background that she had successfully concealed for 18 months of civilian employment. But Rodriguez's military experience enabled him to recognize the significance of First Recon identification and the combat scars that suggested operational experience in the most demanding and dangerous military assignments, creating curiosity that extended beyond casual interest in her background. "Ma'am, First Recon is Marine Special Operations. Those scars look like combat injuries. Were you deployed with reconnaissance units?" Rodriguez pressed, his questions reflecting growing recognition that Katie's military background might be far more significant than her current library assignment would suggest. The evacuation continued with other Marines beginning to notice the interaction between Rodriguez and Katie, recognizing that something significant was being discussed despite the ongoing emergency situation that required immediate attention and coordinated response. As they reached the designated assembly area outside the library building, fire department personnel confirmed that the emergency had been successfully contained and that building evacuation had been completed without injuries or casualties, allowing personnel to process what had occurred during the emergency response. Corporal Sarah Martinez, who had observed Katie's emergency coordination and noticed the exposed tattoo, approached with obvious curiosity about the military background that had been inadvertently revealed during the evacuation process. "Ma'am, I couldn't help but notice your tattoo during the evacuation. First Force Recon is serious business. What was your MOS and where did you deploy?" Martinez asked with the direct communication style that characterized Marines seeking to understand military background and shared service experience. Katie's response required careful balance between acknowledging military service and maintaining privacy about operational details that might involve classified information or traumatic experiences that she preferred not to discuss in casual workplace conversations. "I served with First Recon for 6 years before transitioning to civilian employment. My deployments included Iraq and Afghanistan, but I prefer to focus on current responsibilities rather than previous military service," Katie replied, providing basic information while avoiding detailed discussion of combat operations or personal experiences. Martinez's recognition of Katie's military background created immediate respect and curiosity about service record that exceeded her current civilian role, but also understanding that combat veterans often preferred privacy about operational experiences and traumatic events that continued to affect their approach to civilian employment and community relationships. However, other Marines in the assembly area had overheard the conversation and were beginning to approach with questions and comments that reflected growing awareness that their library staff included someone whose military service had involved special operations and combat experience that commanded respect and recognition. Gunnery Sergeant James Hawk Thompson, a senior NCO with extensive infantry experience, approached Katie with obvious interest in understanding her military background and the circumstances that had led from First Recon service to civilian library employment. "Ma'am, First Recon sees action that most Marines never experience. Those units handle some of the most dangerous missions in the Corps. What brought you from special operations to library work?" Thompson asked with genuine curiosity about career transition that seemed to represent significant change in responsibilities and operational environment. Katie's explanation reflected the complex personal decisions that often characterized veterans transitioning from distinguished military service to civilian employment that utilized different capabilities and provided different forms of satisfaction and community contribution. Gunnery Sergeant, military service taught me the value of education and information. Library work allows me to support Marine education and professional development in ways that contribute to mission readiness and career success without requiring return to operational assignments. Katie explained, connecting her military experience to civilian career choices. Thompson understood Katie's perspective while recognizing that her transition from special operations to educational support represented continuation of service through different means rather than abandonment of military values and commitment to Marine Corps mission accomplishment. The conversation was expanding as additional Marines learned about Katie's military background, creating informal gathering around someone whose service record exceeded their previous understanding of library staff qualifications and military experience. Sergeant Major Patricia Hayes, the senior enlisted advisor for the Base Education Center, approached the group with obvious interest in understanding the situation and the implications for library operations and educational support programs. I understand we have a situation involving one of our library staff and military background that wasn't previously known. Can someone provide context about what's occurred? Hayes asked with professional concern for understanding personnel qualifications and ensuring appropriate recognition of military service and experience. Rodriguez provided explanation that revealed Katie's military background while ensuring that appropriate respect was given for service record that exceeded routine military experience and included special operations assignments that commanded recognition throughout the Marine Corps. Sergeant Major, Mrs. Sullivan served 6 years with First Reconnaissance Company, including deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. Her military background was revealed during emergency evacuation when her tattoo and combat scars became visible, Rodriguez explained, providing context that helped Hayes understand the significance of the discovery. Hayes looked at Katie with immediate recognition and respect, understanding that First Recon service represented the highest levels of military expertise and that her current library assignment significantly underutilized qualifications and experience that could benefit educational programs and veteran support services. Mrs. Sullivan, First Recon Marines are among our most elite personnel. Your military experience and current educational expertise create unique qualifications that could significantly enhance our programs. Would you be willing to discuss how your background might contribute to educational and veteran support initiatives? Katie considered Hayes's request carefully, understanding that her inadvertent revelation had created opportunities for expanded service while requiring decisions about maintaining the privacy and anonymity that had characterized her civilian employment for 18 months. The fire emergency had been fully resolved, allowing personnel to return to normal activities. But the revelation of Katie's military background had fundamentally changed her relationship with the Marine community and created possibilities for enhanced contribution to educational and veteran support programs. 2 hours later, Katie found herself in an informal meeting with Sergeant Major Hayes, Gunnery Sergeant Thompson, and Captain Jennifer Chun, the base education officer, discussing how her unique combination of special operations experience and educational expertise could enhance programs supporting Marine professional development and veteran transition services. What we're recognizing, Captain Chin explained, is that your background provides capabilities we've never had available. Someone who understands both the operational realities of military service and the educational requirements for successful transition and career development. Katie's response reflected willingness to contribute while maintaining appropriate boundaries about her previous military service and current preferences for educational support roles rather than return to operational assignments or high-profile military positions. Captain, I'm interested in supporting Marine education and veteran services in ways that utilize my experience without requiring detailed discussion of operational background or classified missions that I prefer to keep private. Hayes understood Katie's perspective while recognizing that her willingness to expand her role could create opportunities for enhanced educational programs that addressed specific needs of combat veterans and Marines preparing for civilian transition. Mrs. Sullivan, we're developing integrated educational programs that address both academic requirements and transition challenges. Your operational experience combined with educational expertise could help design programs that really understand what Marines need for successful career development. Katie accepted expanded responsibilities that utilized her military experience while respecting her preferences for educational support roles, leading to development of enhanced programs that integrated academic assistance with transition counseling and veteran support services. 3 weeks after the fire alarm incident, Katie had transitioned from routine library duties to senior educational advisor position that utilized her special operations background while maintaining focus on academic support and educational program development that benefited Marines and their families. Her first initiative involved creating comprehensive educational support programs for combat veterans that addressed both academic requirements and psychological adjustments associated with transition from operational assignments to civilian careers or continued military service in non-combat roles. What we're developing, Katie explained to the education staff, are programs that understand the specific challenges combat veterans face in academic environments. The difficulty of sitting still for extended periods, the hypervigilance that can interfere with concentration, and the need for practical application that connects classroom learning to operational experience. Katie worked with education staff to create veteran-specific study programs that accommodated combat-related challenges while providing academic support that enabled educational success and career development for Marines whose operational experience had created capabilities that needed to be integrated with formal education. The Marines I served with, Katie explained to program participants, had incredible practical intelligence and problem-solving capabilities developed through operational experience. The challenge is translating that intelligence into academic success and formal credentials that civilian employers understand and value. Her program design included study techniques adapted for combat veterans, educational counseling that addressed transition challenges, and career development support that connected military experience with civilian employment opportunities and educational advancement. The educational support programs that Katie developed specifically for combat veterans were eventually adopted throughout Marine Corps installations, establishing new standards for veteran educational assistance that acknowledged operational experience while providing academic support tailored to military backgrounds and transition needs. But perhaps Katie's greatest contribution was demonstrating that combat experience could enhance educational support rather than conflict with it, and that special operations background provided insights that improved academic programs for all military personnel pursuing educational advancement and career development. 6 months after the fire alarm revelation, Katie was invited to speak at the Marine Corps Professional Military Education Conference, where her perspective on integrating operational experience with educational support contributed to service-wide programs addressing veteran education and transition challenges. Her presentation emphasized the importance of educational programs that respected military experience while providing academic support adapted to combat veterans' specific needs and learning styles developed through operational training and deployment experience. Education should build on military experience rather than ignore it, Katie told conference attendees. Combat veterans bring problem-solving capabilities, leadership experience, and practical intelligence that can enhance academic performance when educational programs are designed to utilize rather than overlook military background. The conference presentation resulted in Katie's appointment to the Marine Corps Education Advisory Board, where her unique combination of special operations experience and educational expertise influenced service-wide policies addressing veteran education and transition support throughout the Marine Corps educational system. Local veteran organizations invited Katie to share her experience with other combat veterans pursuing educational goals, creating peer support networks that address transition challenges while providing encouragement and practical assistance for academic success and career development. Katie's story was featured in Marine Corps publications and veteran magazines as example of successful transition from special operations to civilian career while maintaining connection to military community through educational support and veteran assistance programs. The library where Katie's military background had been accidentally revealed became a model for veteran educational support, with enhanced programs that addressed combat veteran-specific needs while providing academic assistance that respected military experience and operational background. Sergeant Major Hayes frequently referenced Katie's program development as example of how civilian employees with military background could enhance educational services while demonstrating that special operations experience provided valuable perspective for addressing veteran education and transition challenges. The most important lesson we learned, Hayes would tell visiting education officials, is that combat experience enhances rather than complicates educational support, and that special operations background provides insights that improve programs for all military personnel pursuing academic advancement and career development. Today, Katie continues her work as Senior Educational Advisor while serving as coordinator for veteran transition programs that utilize her special operations experience and educational expertise to benefit Marines throughout their career development and civilian transition processes. Her influence extends through training programs where she educates civilian education staff about combat experience and veteran culture while sharing academic approaches that address military-related challenges and utilize operational experience as foundation for educational success and career advancement. The fire alarm that had accidentally revealed Katie's tattoo and military background had lasted only minutes, but its impact continued for years, creating enhanced educational programs that addressed veteran needs while demonstrating that special operations experience could contribute to civilian educational support and academic success. The Marines who had witnessed Katie's evacuation coordination and recognized her first recon tattoo understood that their quiet librarian possessed military background that commanded respect, and that her transition to educational support represented continuation of service through different means rather than abandonment of military values and commitment to Marine Corps mission accomplishment. Her story demonstrated that military service and civilian careers could complement rather than conflict with each other, and that special operations experience provided capabilities that enhanced educational support while maintaining connection to military community through programs that respected combat experience and utilized operational background for academic advancement and career development. The scars that had been revealed along with her tattoo served as permanent reminders of service and sacrifice that had earned respect throughout the Marine Corps, while her current educational role demonstrated that combat veterans could contribute to military communities through various forms of continued service that honored military experience, while building civilian careers and professional expertise. Katie Sullivan had proven that First Recon Marines could serve effectively in any environment that required dedication, competence, and commitment to mission accomplishment, whether that mission involved special operations in hostile territory or educational support that enabled academic success and career development for fellow Marines pursuing educational advancement and professional growth.